Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Chapter 4.1-4.2 review. Remember, no calculator and to show all your work. Alright, let's look at the directions. It asks us to determine whether the given ordered pair is a solution to the linear equation. Circle yes or no. So when we're checking if something is a solution, that means we need to take whatever is in here and plug in. Okay, so our first number is x and our second number is y. Every time we plug in, we're going to use parentheses. So the x was 8 and the y was 1. So 1 equals, and now we have to do 1/4 x. So that's 1/4 times 8 over 1. So we multiply across. 8 over 4, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then bring down the negative minus 1. 2 minus 1, well 2 minus 1 is 1. And is that true? Yes. So our answer is yes. Okay, number 2. Remember which one's your x and which one's your y. Okay, why don't you guys pause the video and see if you can solve this by yourself. Good luck. Okay, so we plugged in the 5 for the y and the negative 1 for the x. 3 times 5 is 15. Negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2, and 15 plus 2 is 17. So we're left with 17 equals 17, which is a true statement. So our answer is yes. All right, next set of directions. It says complete the ordered pair by using the linear equation given. So they tell us what one of the points are. So for this, it is the first number is the x. So they're telling us the x. We have to figure out what the y is. So we're plugging in a negative 9. Now off to the side, if you want to do 5 over 3 times negative 9 over 1, 5 times 9 is 45, and it's going to be a negative 45 over 3. And 3 goes into 45 15 times. So we get y equals negative 15 plus 2. And negative 15 plus 2 is negative 13. So after completing the ordered pair, our final answer is negative 9, negative 13. Okay, and why don't you guys do number 4? This time, instead of giving us the x, because the x is first, they told us the y. So you would plug in the negative 3 and then solve for x. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, so I plugged in the negative 3. Negative 7 times negative 3 is a positive 21. Don't forget that negative sign in front of the 6. Subtract 21 to both sides. 27 minus 21 is 6. And when you divide by negative 6, we get x equals negative 1. So my final answer is the completed ordered pair, negative 1, comma, negative 3. Okay, let's look at the directions for the next one. It says to complete the table for the given linear equation. Remember to show your work for each ordered pair. Each ordered pair we have to show our work. Okay, the first one we're going to do is x equals negative 6. So we get 1/2 negative 6 minus y equals 5. Half of 6 is 3, and it's going to be a negative 3. Now to get the y by itself, we have to follow the rules of sad map, so we're adding 3 to both sides. And then we get negative 1/2, or negative y equals 8. And now the y is not by itself. We have to divide by a negative 1, and then we get y equals negative 8. Sweet. Well, that's our first one, so now we have to do the second one. 1/2 x, and we know that y, because they told us the y this time, y is negative 3. Okay, I'm going to draw the line down the center. So 1/2 x. Now we have two negative signs here, which makes that a positive 3. And now as I'm solving for x, I'm going to subtract 3 to both sides. And I get 1/2 x equals 5 minus 3, which is 2. Now we don't divide by a fraction, so I have to multiply by the reciprocal. 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So then we get 4, negative 3. All right. So I'll do one of these with you, and you'll do the second one on your own. So I'll do the x value. Okay, for x, we're going to plug in negative 12. Now off to the side down here, I'm going to just show my work. Negative 3 over 4 times negative 12 over 1. I'm just going to multiply straight across. Negative 3 times negative 12 is a positive 36. 4 times 1 is 4. And then 36 divided by 4 is 9. So we get y equals 9 minus 2. And then 9 minus 2 is 7. Okay, so you guys are going to figure out what the x value is by solving for y, or solving for x. So y equals 4 equals negative 3/4 x minus 2. Okay, so just remember to follow STADMAP. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so the first thing that I did was added 2 to both sides. 4 plus 2 is 6. Now, to get rid of a fraction, I multiplied by the reciprocal, a negative 4/3. So if you look down here, we have negative 4/3 times 6 over 1. I multiply the top to get negative 24. 3 times 1 is 3. Negative 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. So we get that x equals negative 8. Okay. Now the last one said that we need to graph each linear equation by finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. All right, so we have to do 2 equations, solve each one twice. So to help me remember that, right away, I'm going to write the equation 2 times. Okay, and each one of these is going to be a point. The first one, I'm letting x equal 0. The second one, I'm letting y equal 0. Okay, let's go ahead and solve. So our first one, x is 0. 2/3 times 0 is 0. And we're left with the negative 4y equals 4. To get the y by itself, we have to divide by a -4. Don't forget that there's a negative sign in front. And then we get y equals -1. Okay, and if you want to fill that in right away so you don't forget. Okay, now the second time, x is 0, or y is 0, I'm sorry. So -4 times 0 is 0, and we're left with 2/3 x equaling 4. Now, to solve for x, we have to multiply by the reciprocal. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. Okay, so now that I have those 2 points, we've got 6, 0, so which means I go 6 to the right in 0, and then 0, -1. And now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to draw a straight line. Okay, and try to make it go the entire length of the graph. Okay. All right, I did an example. Now it's time for you guys to do one. So I'll help you set it up. We're going to do it 2 times. One time you're going to let x equals 0, so right down here we know. And then the second time we're going to let y equals 0. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. Good luck. Okay, so the y-intercept was the easy one, because -3/4 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 6 is 6. So we get 0, 6, which is that point up there. Now the x-intercept was a little bit more work. Once you plug in 0, we had to subtract 6 to both sides, and then multiply by the reciprocal of -3/4, which was -4/3. Once you do that, my work is down here. -4 times -6 is +24. 3 times 1 is 3. And 24 divided by 3 is 8. And there's my point over here, 8, 0. Now the only thing that's missing is drawing my straight line. I'm getting my ruler ready right now, lining up the 2 points, and then making sure that that line goes through both points, the entire length of the graph, and then adding my arrows. Now, if you have any questions, because is that the last one? Oh, there's another side to this? I thought I was done. All right, let's look it over. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look. I was excited. I thought we were done. So a rental car company charges a flat fee of $50 to rent a compact sedan plus 20 cents per mile driven. The linear equation that represents this situation is y equals 0.2x plus 50, where x represents the number of miles driven and y represents the total cost to rent the compact sedan. Complete the table of values using the equation above. Show your work. Okay, so they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different numbers that they want us to plug in. Okay, so what I would start with is writing the equation down 6 times and then plugging in. So edit, copy, edit, paste. So I've got a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll move this guy down a little bit. Okay, and so one time I'm going to plug in 5. I'm going to plug in 10, 15, 20, 25, and then for the last one we're plugging in 30. So why don't you guys pause the video and see if you can solve all of those on your own. Good luck. Okay, and there's all my work. We got 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. All right. Now, graph the ordered pairs from part A by labeling. So we got to label and scale the axis appropriate. So the x-axis is the number of miles driven, and I'm stealing that right here. So x represents the number of miles driven. So here's my x. Oh, make sure this is black. And this is the number of miles driven. Okay, so we know that that's 0. And we counted by 5, and it went all the way up to 30. So I'm going to make sure that this is 30. Half is going to be 15. So there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, so that's good. We're counting by 5s. And now the y-axis represents the total cost to rent the compact sedan. So this is the cost to rent the car. Now, I would not say count by tens because 10, 20, if we were to do that, all of our graph would be up here. I don't want to see that, okay? What I would do is first indicate that there's a break in the graph. That's what those lines do. And then I'm going to start my graph at 50, and then I'm going to go up to, we can go up to 58. And then I can do this by counting by 1. So this would be 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, and there's 58. And there we go. And now the next thing we have to do is to graph all the points. So the first one is 5, 51. Then it was 10, 52. What was the next one? It was 15, 53. So 15, 53. 20, 54. So 20, 54. 25, 55. And then the last one was 30, 56. Okay, and now they did say to graph, which means now I'm going to connect the dots. And there we go. So a lot of places where people were losing points is they were not labeling the axes. And you got to make sure to use an appropriate scale. You just, like over here, we can't start counting by 5s or 10s or anything because we're not really seeing the graph. Okay? All right. So explain the meaning of the ordered pair 60, 62 in the context of the problem. Use a complete sentence. Well, I would refer back up here where it tells us what x and y is, but I've also got it on our graph right here. So that's our X and our Y. So what does the X represent? Well, yeah, X is the number of miles driven. So if you drive 60 miles on the car, the total cost for renting the car would be $62. Okay, and this is where I might come back here because I forgot the cost of the renting the car. That's in dollars. Okay, now last one. Michelle rented a compact sedan from the same company mentioned above, and she paid $90. How many miles did she drive? So they're saying if we use that equation and the y is 90, how many miles did she drive? So to figure that out, we're going to use SADMAP, the reverse order of operations. Subtract 50 from both sides, and we get 40 equals 0.2x. And then the last thing we would do is divide both sides by 0.2, okay? And for this is one of the parts where you guys would get to use your baby calculator. So 40 divided by 0.2, and you should get 200 equals x, and 200 is not my answer because I want to know how many miles. So that would be 200 miles. Okay, guys. Well, that's it for Algebra 2, Chapter 4.1, 4.2 review. Remember, if you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.